In the offset preceding and offset following frame definition options, an expression without any variables or calls to aggregate or window functions must be specified as an offset. What exactly the offset will mean is determined by the frame mode. In rows mode, the frame in the example will start 2 lines before the current line and end 2 lines after the current line. The number that defines the offset and with which the beginning of the frame is positioned before the current line and the end after the current line should be set at a non-negative integer other than null. In rows mode, we do not look at the value of lines. The window in this mode will always be a fixed size. In groups mode, the number defines the shift with which the beginning of the frame is positioned before the group of strings related to the current one and the end after that group. Groups of related rows form rows that are considered equal according to order by, which is mandatory to use groups mode. The offset must also be set to a non-negative integer, other than null. In this example, the current row has several related rows, so the beginning of the frame will be in the row with value 2, and end will be in the row with value 10. In range mode, the offset specifies the maximum difference between the value of this column in the current row and the preceding rows and the value of the current row and the succeeding rows of the frame. To define a frame with an offset in range mode, the order by sentence must contain exactly 1 column. The data type of the offset expression depends on the data type of the ordering column. For numeric columns, it is usually the same numeric type, and for columns with the date time type, it is the interval type. For example, if the ordering column is of type date or timestamp, this record is possible. The distance to the end of the frame is limited by the distance to the end of the partition. So for strings that are at the end of a partition, the frame may contain fewer strings than for others. Let's look at the movement of partition frames and note how the number of lines in the frame changes in different modes. So the frame is defined in rows, groups, and range modes. The beginning of the frame is defined as 2 lines before the current line, and the end of the frame is 2 lines after the current line. As the current line moves down the frame in rows mode, it expands to 5 lines and remains unchanged until the current line reaches the end of the dataset. Unlike range and groups mode, where the frame size changes depending on values, when the current line approaches the end of the partition, the frame size in rows mode again decreases to 3 lines, but in range mode, the partition size consists of only 1 line, as 5 is beyond the maximum difference of 10 and 2.